Is Donald Trump going to get away with destroying American democracy, with cracking our republic? Check this out. Leave your comments, ding the bell, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. We're now to the point where every minute, on average, an American is dying of the Trump virus. Every minute, the Trump virus kills another American because Donald Trump and the Republican Party refuse to do anything about it. And now they're trying to use the Trump virus to mess with the election this November. Trump's Postmaster General is actively destroying the post office, slowing down the mail to create a crisis for people who want to vote by mail, while Republican governors are closing urban polling stations and stripping people from the voting rolls left and right. And now to distract from the worst economic news in the history of the United States, to distract from John Lewis's message and funeral, and to set up his challenge when he loses the election. And make no mistake about it, much of what Donald Trump is doing is not about November 3rd. It's about November 4th. It's about claiming that he didn't actually lose. It's about creating, some sort of plausible uncertainty. It's about throwing the system into chaos. And even if and when he is thrown out altogether and he leaves the White House on January 20th, continuing to play the role of shadow president starting on January 21st, particularly if the Trump crime family succeeds in buying or starting a television network, as he was about to do back 4 years ago, or almost 4 years ago, when he was running for president. This was part of his plan, was after he lost, and he thought he was going to lose. He did not have he had a concession speech ready. He had no victory speech ready. He knew he was going to lose. He didn't count on a little help from his friends. So anyhow, that's what I think this is about. So, very few people thought that Trump would get away with asking for foreign help to win an election, but he did. Few people thought he'd get away with saying terrible things about women and be charged with sexual assault, but he did. Few people thought he'd get away with eliminating environmental rules and poisoning our rivers, but he did. Few people thought he'd get away with giving a $3 trillion gift to himself and his billionaire buddies, but he did. And now Trump is trying to set up a situation where he wins even if he loses. By casting doubts around the election, when he loses, he'll continue to claim that he's the legitimate president of the United States. And this will almost certainly be a disaster for democracy, both here in the United States and around the world. This is like, the autocrat's playbook. All because Donald Trump wants to keep himself from going to jail, and a bunch of right-wing billionaires want him to continue shoveling tax cuts and deregulation to them. We can't let him get away with it. Do you think America's going to let Donald Trump get away with this? It's frankly mind-boggling. On top of this, we have now the GDP dropped 32.9%. That's for all practical purposes, 33%. A third of the economy just collapsed. Republicans in the Senate are now saying, last week was the last $600 check that most Americans, who were 25 million Americans on unemployment, got. That was $2,400 a month, in addition to regular unemployment that Americans were getting. That was a universal basic. That's about as close to a universal basic income as we have ever seen in the United States, and it kept the economy together. To some extent. I mean, we had, obviously 1/3 drop in GDP, but it didn't, we didn't have a radical explosion in homelessness and certainly we've had an explosion of homelessness and hunger and all these other things. But this served as a damper on that. Well, Mitch McConnell and all the Republicans in the Senate are basically saying, $600 a week? No, we're not going to do that again. Maybe, if you're lucky, in a few weeks, when we decide that, what the hell, we'll get around to it then, we will give you we'll give you, a couple $100. Actually, what Trump is lobbying for is another $1,200 one-time check, so he can mail it out with a one-time letter over his signature saying, here's $1,200 from me. $600 a week. Nobody sees anything from Trump. They don't think that Trump gave that to them. Are we going to let him get away with this? Do you think that they're going to get away with this? I don't think so. I'm increasingly thinking that this is what we're looking at right now is what we saw in this country, frankly, on a smaller scale. In 1929, 30, 31, and 32, when Herbert Hoover was president, and he said, yeah, the stock market has collapsed. Yeah, we've got 30% unemployment. Yes, we've got, 15, 20% of our people homeless. And he went on to say that he wasn't going to do anything about it.